Hello, welcome to Darksiders. For those not familiar, this is a mashup of Zelda and God of War. I've been routing 100% recently, and thought I'd make a video to kind of show off the route. It's getting pretty crazy even by this game's standards. I'm in the second dungeon grabbing its special item, but I don't use it at all, because the main thing with this game is that it has an infinite jump. It used to be pretty difficult to do, but it's gotten easier in recent years, so we've been able to come up with some just ridiculous strategies. Combined with the game's air dash mechanics, we're able to move wherever we want very quickly. So you'll see me just take off into the air here. For any percent, the main idea is you just hit all the load triggers in order to load the level in front of you as quickly as possible, and then progress that way. For 100%, there's 5 different types of collectibles. Luckily, their hitbox extends through the floor a little bit, so I'm able to grab most of them while out of bounds. And then this next section, I'm going to be hitting 3 load zones in a particular order that for some reason first load an empty basement, and then in a room that's not even in memory, it has a load zone that loads a room that should already be there, and then by going back to that room, it then loads the water that should have been in the basement from the start. It's very strange based on what we know from the any percent route, and I haven't run into anything like it. The nice thing with this game is that all the dungeons just behave really differently, and so it's always fun to route. Coming up, I'll be grabbing a treasure chest from Out of Bounds. It works similarly to the artifact in that you can just activate it from Out of Bounds and it'll pull you in. And as you may have guessed from this being a dead end, I entered it from the wrong direction. And so in the room that I'll be coming up in, there's supposed to be a fight that's triggered, and after you complete it, it opens up some sections of the wall to give you access to health chests and another power-up. Because I'm going the wrong way, the wall is already broken, and I'm able to just get the power-up immediately. One of the things I really wanted to do with the 100% was not have any more mandatory fights than any percent. And so despite it being like 90 minutes longer, aside from an auto-scroller, there's only one more fight that's actually done. What you saw me do there is called sword canceling, or sword dashing. And it's done by using one of the special moves with the sword and then just mashing dash while you're in Z target mode. And it's a very quick way to move through the world. So you can see me do it here. I jump up in the previous room to skip one of the fight triggers. And then just more swimming. The interesting thing with this room, and with kind of the route here, is that this used to be the way that we would get to the fist way back in like 2011, 2012. And so it's kind of cool to see like just some of the old knowledge from how we knew to get out of bounds back then come into play. And so similarly, I'm actually going to be infinite dashing over to some doors, which used to be the ones that we would open to get to the boss. And so it's an interesting thing of just like using really old strats kind of backwards of how they should be to just have the better route in 100%. The interesting thing with that door is that, so doors act as just like forced loading triggers. If you open a door, it's going to load both sides of it generally. Some doors, and it varies by dungeon, only load one side. And so this one's convenient in that it loads exactly what I need it to, and then allows me to exit out of bounds immediately again. And then this next part is just grabbing a treasure chest from outside again. It's a little bit sloppy because there's some train tracks that get in the way, and so I have to be really close, and it's difficult to fall, or it's easy to fall. And then the sword dashing here just skips another fight. The infinite jump is done by switching the sub-weapon I have. So I have the horn and the boomerang. By swapping between them and jumping on the same frame, it just gives me another ground jump, which allows me to dash, use the horn again, switch, and then dash again. So it's a pretty easy cycle, but if you mess up any of the inputs, you just kind of fall forever. And so it's not a happy prospect and takes a lot of practice. The interesting thing is the room I just went by is kind of the one we use to line up our loading zone in any percent. So one of the cool things with routing 100% is that as you're going through like the level inbound, it's like, oh, I recognize this place. I don't enter it, but I use it to load the next part of the level. And so it's kind of cool that in routing you're just like, oh, sweet, I know this next section because I can just do the any percent route. And then from here, it's just off to the boss. And speedrun style, we're entering the boss room from the back. And so we're able to skip the first mechanic, which is breaking these blue crystals before he shoots a laser at them that makes you not be able to break them. Because we do that, the boss becomes trivialized. It's maybe not so great for casual play, but I like the bosses in Darksiders because once we came up with strategies for them, they were like a puzzle on their own to kind of solve and went through a lot of different revisions. So we used to enter the boss room from another section, which was a little bit slower to get into, and then eventually found more holes in the ceiling to drop in. And this section here is skipping an actual, like, another phase of the fight where we found that if you dash away, it skips one of his animations, and you're able to just immediately grab the card again to just end the fight. So that's pretty much it. From here on out, I actually get an upgrade that makes the dashing and movement even faster in the game, and so it's just, it's all crazier from here. There's like there's a lot of possibilities for routing 100%, but the only downside is that it's kind of not that great to watch because you're just staring at a black screen. Thanks for watching.